Hi, welcome back to Eternal Beta. It's been a few weeks since we've had an episode. We've been really busy with other projects, but we're finally back, and we've got some good content.
Yeah.
The two topics that we're going to discuss today are, the first one is the new Microsoft device.
The Surface.
The Surface.
But not the old Surface.
Not the old
new
Surface, yeah. Not the original one that was more of a desktop, really interesting touch-based device, really for major developers and things. This is truly a product that's meant to go up against the iPad in a lot of ways. The second thing is actually the Nest Thermostat. Pretty exciting, high-tech new device, so we'll get into that here in a minute. But the first thing being Microsoft, the Surface tablet device. What's interesting to me is that Microsoft has taken kind of a different approach than Apple did.
With the two versions of it?
With the two versions of it. They have two. One is based on the ARM processor, which is similar to what's in. It's a low-power processor used in a lot of types of mobile devices, from cell phones to like the iPad. Okay. And then the other is the x86 architecture, or the Intel standard Intel architecture.
It's actually an Intel i5.
It's the i5 too? Okay.
I believe so.
Which is what you can put in a standard laptop and that type of thing. So it uses a lot more power, but it also has a lot more power. So what's interesting to me is they have the two versions. The ARM version that's going to be running their new interface called Metro.
Yep.
And then the other is going to be running basically the full version of Windows 8. So both the standard desktop experience and the Metro experience.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's a different approach.
Yes, and it'll be interesting to see how, I would say, both. Well, it's interesting that the consumers versus the business. I mean, Microsoft is trying to get a slice of the tablet market, and the RT version will be competitively priced, but I feel like it will, as Microsoft is doing now, its niche will live on in the business world. I think we'll see there's probably a lot of the sector that has been very hesitant to roll out tablets due to the lack of integration with all of the management infrastructure, and you can bet that the full version of the Windows Surface will integrate with Active Directory and everything just seamlessly, and so it'll fit into IT security policies and allow for tablet adoption, probably in markets that there haven't been. I mean, I've read that there are companies in the East that'll actually special remove cameras like from iPhones and iPads so that they can actually be cleared for work in government facilities. Because a lot of places you can't take cameras in. Right. And so that just kills this device for being used there. And so, potentially be a lot more opportunity for the tablet to grow in places it couldn't.
Which makes sense. I mean, if it's just running Windows 8, it's Windows 8. So any type of a network that a standard Windows 8 desktop could integrate into. Yep. So could the mobile device. But yeah, it does seem interesting to try to work on two different segments. You have consumer segment, which is really just the Metro interface, which I would say is more of a direct competitor to what the iPad for the most part is, and then the full version. Another thing I thought was really interesting about the release is this is the first product that Microsoft has really gone out on their own and developed the hardware and everything themselves. And that's something Apple normally does, but Microsoft has always had this really strong partner relationship with their OEMs, with these technical vendors. And they push the margins so much in regards. I know Intel takes a huge cut of every device that's sold that has the Intel processors in it, and then there's obviously a pretty heavy fee in regards with the overall operating system. So those technology margins are really, really narrow, really slim. So a lot of the companies that are developing out the computers have to use pretty low-end parts in order to be able to be competitive in pricing. So this is totally different. The Microsoft said, no, we're going to go out, we're going to find our own metals that we're going to use. I mean, like Apple actually bought out the majority of
liquid metals.
Liquid metal, and even the aluminum. There was an entire mine in Australia. They bought up like everything that entire mine was releasing, so they could basically have enough to develop their products. So Microsoft is kind of starting to do the same thing and looking at it as we're going to be a company that produces a physical product as well as a software product. I just think that's a pretty big leap for them.
Well, and it's not necessarily the first time that we've seen that precedent. I mean, the Xbox is its most successful pillar, but they tried with the Zune, and for everything that was said about it, it was a very well-received, well-reviewed product that the market just paid no attention to.
Who wants a brown MP3 player, really?
Well, by that point, Microsoft was playing catch-up again. And so it's like with Xbox, they were truly an innovative market leader. I mean, they did things in the console market that were never done before. The idea of an always-on internet connection on a console from day one, that was a unheard of.
Right.
And so, but then the Zune is we're catching up to Apple.
Right.
And now the Surface tablets we're catching up to Apple again. But in a very different way. I think the key will be the Metro interface and whether or not people truly can connect to that, because it is a different thought. Like an Android tablet or an iPad, they pretty much feel
Similar
interchangeable.
interface, yeah.
Block of icons. Boom, boom, boom,
not
boom,
that,
boom.
that in fact dissimilar to the original Palm interface.
No, that's very
in all
true,
reality,
yeah.
it's not that much different.
But with Metro's approach of tiles and workspaces where the screen is almost like just a viewport into a larger document that you pan about, I think it's a very different, interesting shift in user interface. And I'm interested to try it out for one.
Absolutely.
Very interested.
Well, the one feature that everybody talked about when they first released it was the keyboard.
Oh yeah,
The fully integrated keyboard. It's really thin keyboard. I mean, it looks about like the
smart cover.
Yeah, about like the smart cover, but it's a fully integrated keyboard. And I have to admit that was pretty cool. That's a pretty neat thing. And the other thing they had was a kickstand.
Yes.
So it's actually part of the device, so as opposed to having to have something added on. It literally just flipped out from the back and it would hold it up in place. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see the product in action. I don't know if Metro ends up being a good enough OS and they have enough developers develop content for it. You know, I think that it could ultimately, compete. I just don't think that the Android tablets have had a really hard time of it. They really have, and I think that Microsoft does have an opportunity to at least take part of that market.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, with Apple controlling like 87 or 88% of the tablet market, everyone else is just fighting for scraps.
Right.
So it'll be. I think the key will be not do they take away Android buyers, but do they take away iPad
Ultimately,
buyers?
iPad buyers.
Yeah.
Probably a little more from a commercial standpoint or corporate standpoint.
I read, there is huge opportunity for developing on Windows 8. Analysts predict 350 million Windows 8 licenses will be deployed within its first year.
Wow.
So that's a massive market.
Huge. And since Metro's on both the full desktop version and on the device,
tablet, yeah.
It's the same code base.
It'll be pretty compelling to develop for.
That should be cool.
Yeah.
So the second thing, and Nathan's really, really excited about this. We only have a little bit of time, but with the Nest.
Yeah, so I bought this on Saturday. Earlier this month, the Nest became available on Amazon. But I realize I'm jumping the gun. For people who don't know what the Nest is, this is a new smart programmable thermostat. I think kind of the future. It's really, really nifty. We're going to open this up, but basically this little guy will replace your old Honeywell style circle. And it is how it makes it different is it's a learning thermostat. This actually is like a little computer that is smart enough to see and remember when you change the temperature or even when you're not home. And Nest will build your own smart schedule for you. For all the programmable thermostats that are on our walls, I actually have one that I'm replacing this with. Most of them are not programmed at all or are poorly programmed.
That's mine.
Yeah.
Poorly programmed.
It would be great if we followed a very rigid 4-time-a-day schedule like what mine has, but it's like on Mondays and Wednesdays I go to the gym, and so I get home later. And so therefore I'm cooling my house or heating it when I don't need to. But Nest is smart enough to have up to 40 programmable points that it just learns every day. And so your schedule can be super, super delineated. And as for being, it is a premium product, started at $250, but Nest totes that in the first 2 years it can save you $350, and over the course of 20 years in a home, up to $6,000. So it is potentially a very good investment for any home and for the future.
And I think the other cool part about it is that it's completely Wi-Fi enabled.
Yes.
So, that's something else we need to talk about. You can turn the dial back and forth and it can learn based on how you're adjusting at certain times a day. But on the flip side, you can access it.
Yeah, we can access it from our phones, our iPads, and from a website, and have access to your schedule, adjust it. And if I'm coming home early, turn on my thermostat. I'm tapping this, but I'd be tapping this. So it's a pretty compelling product, and I'm so excited that I'm actually rewiring my house so that I can fit it. I want to move my thermostat into my TV room instead of behind the door in the living room. So it's definitely something for us to geek out about.
Yeah, hopefully once you have an opportunity to get it installed and have some experience in watching it learn over time, it'd be interesting to do another follow-up.
Oh, definitely.
Just to see how you really feel about the product. I mean, it obviously looks incredible. The features sound amazing. So the price is a little bit high, but if it can really deliver upon what it says it can,
then
I think it's a worthwhile investment. But
so yeah, we'll report back on that.
pretty cool.
And I think that's about all the time we have today. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.